Good day, YouTube. It's a good day in America. You know, being a conservative patriot who loves this country, it's nice to actually have guests on who share the same beliefs. And you guys, I have my guest, and I have the privilege to actually introduce him to you all. And his name is Adam. Adam basically has endured a lot of persecution that has mainly been done to him because that he likes to exercise his freedom of speech. He doesn't sugarcoat anything, but I know that because of your Facebook, if you want to fill them in on intricate details, because you made some posts on your Facebook, didn't they terminate you from a job because of that?
So a couple people that I'm involved in, I'm a weightlifter, and some of those people did not share some of the same ideologies, if you will, or some ideas or opinions on the political climate and culture that I did. And yeah, they monitored my Facebook and some other things that I said personally, because I'm the type of person that if I have a thought, I'm going to tell you what it is. I don't care how you feel or if it hurts your feelings or if you get emotional about it. That's your problem. You got to be able to control that yourself.
Exactly.
And it's not out of place out of like me trying to be hateful or spiteful. It's just me being honest, and you can't handle honesty. You need to do something different.
Exactly. Adam, definitely where we definitely do agree at is that we believe that masculinity is under attack, that they want men to basically be more like women. You agree with that, right?
Oh,
you
absolutely.
actually see how it has systematic, then also how the 7 mountains of influence is being utilized to basically make males to be soy boys.
Yeah, I don't drink soy milk. Can't really help you on that one. But yeah, I definitely believe that people today, not only is it just centralized to America, it's all over the world. People, when it comes to masculinity, is completely under attack. A lot of that goes back to the early feminist movement and stuff like that during World War II. A lot of men came back and did not step up to the plate, and women had to do that. So the feminist movement at that time was cool. But what we have today, the radical feminist movement, third wave feminists, or this fourth kind, or whatever the hell you want to call it, yeah, it's completely geared towards the hatred of men. But the interesting thing is the people that say that they hate men the most are the people that are trying to act like men and take the roles of men. And then you have boys, you don't have men, not taking responsibility for their actions, not taking responsibility for their families and doing those type of things that men traditionally do, or even doing masculine things, hunting, fishing, building, working with their hands, lifting weights, things of that nature. So today, nowadays you have men who have been pussified. And when it comes to even like Christianity and our Christian culture, they worship a bearded woman rather than the Jesus that I see in the scriptures.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. They do. They have basically, let's just say, for lack of a better word, they have feminized Christ.
Absolutely. There's a really good book that's about that, actually by a female. I can't remember the name exactly, but the name and title of the book, if you ever want to check it out, is called No More Christian Nice Guy. And it's by a lady with a PhD, so she's smarter than me apparently. But she makes some really good points about the Christian culture today, worshiping a feminized version of Christianity, which it is. And me personally, I see that more so in certain Protestant denominations and a little bit in some of the old classical Protestant denominations, especially like you got the ELCA, and they've definitely apostatized, and people can say what they want about that. Who else? Presbyterians, every church that I see where we're at as Presbyterian, they got some kind of, everyone's welcome here, immigrants welcome, they got their rainbow flag flying above their cross or something like that. So that's the culture we're in today, and it's nothing new. This is history repeats itself. I absolutely believe that. Just like all the other great empires were masculine and slowly became cosmopolitan and feminized, and just complete degradation. It's just going to fall, and this empire will do the same.
Oh, wow. That is, we are definitely following that blueprint to destruction, especially just like Rome. Now, I believe in diversity. but I don't believe in multiculturalism. So let me just clarify what I mean by that. I believe that you can have people from different walks of life, okay? Even have, let's just say, difference of ideologies, whatever. But I believe that we are to unite under one culture. That's the American culture. Then a lot of people say, well, what do you mean? That's an umbrella term. What do you mean exactly? So when I say the American culture, I'm talking about the United States Constitution. For starters, what about us being a republic? What about our, our amendments and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera, and accept our history too as well. Respect our laws. That's the American culture that I'm referring to. But now with the multiculturalism that is coming into the United States, we have a lot of third world philosophies that are actually coming into the United States too.
Oh yeah, and they're being
Have
brought
you
over
noticed that?
Absolutely. Of course I've noticed it. So now we're getting to the issue of race, and I think you just might have race baited me a little bit. But we'll go there because I don't care how you feel about it. So, yeah, absolutely. Me personally, the Constitution is one of the greatest documents, if not the greatest document for a culture or a society or a country to live by. Nowadays, you've got a lot of people that are coming into our country not in the proper way, I guess you would say. And you have people, which is strange to me, that you have all these white people going against their own people, their own country, and their own ethnic background, if you want. Saying that white people are the cause of all the different, banes of history and society, and they're the reason for people not being able to live within a society, get a certain tax bracket, or do this, that, or the other thing, just based on their fact that they're come from Indo-Europeans, or whatever it is. So I believe that diversity is important, but this is not diversity when you try to make everybody else think like you.
That's right.
And talk like you and have the same opinions as you.
That's right.
As well as look like you.
That's right.
That's just not how it works.
That's right. And there's another word for that. We call it being a fascist. Right. Cultural Marxist.
Right.
Want to completely dictate the narrative. But what I think is
but they're useful idiots.
Exactly. But what I think is more insidious, though, is that there are a lot of these people who are in it. I mean, wholeheartedly. And They believe that this is the right thing to do.
You're talking about all those white professors.
Yes, to brainwash the masses. And even with the Eastern philosophies coming into the United States, socialism, I never even thought that we will be living in a time right now where politics would be so polarized, but then socialism is creeping in. Now, we did have like some examples of soft socialism, like welfare. I mean, this is kind of like a socialist program. But the thing is, though, we have mainstream socialism. Yeah. Within the United States right now.
We have for our education system, the school that you and I or whoever's watching went through, that's based upon like cultural Marxism, socialist ideologies. Then why do you think that we have that? I was born in a generation where we still said the Pledge of Allegiance.
That's right.
Like America was the greatest country in the world. Why? Why is it the greatest country in the world? Because we have the freedom to say and do the things that we want, and we hold one another accountable based upon those things. Everybody has life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in this country. And if you try to take that away, there's going to be problems. With all these neo-Marxists or postmodernists that are coming out today with these ideas and forcing all these interpretations of things onto other people, I really don't care for them, nor do I really have too much of an opinion about how we should combat the issue, because the issue is not necessarily, I don't think it's going to go away. It's going to get worse and worse, and I'll be prepared for when it does.
Adam, most of my subscribers are overwhelmingly Caucasian. And here's an interesting dynamic too, and it's a very shocking fact for me when I found out the demographic as far as age. Most of my subscribers are over the age of 50.
Over the age of 50.
Over the age of 50. Yep. And so that's amazing, right? Because what that tells me is that I'm tapping into a nerve where it's maturity, but also people who have life experience.
Oh,
and they're
yeah, absolutely.
speaking from experience and have facts on their side. So, and with you being a Caucasian American, and I know you notice the double standards. I know you realize it because it's so prevalent, double standards, okay? Because I'm Black, I can say whatever I want to. I can advocate for a safe space, and I don't want whites there, but it's not racist when I say these kind of things. I can assault Trump supporters. I can toss out conservatives and all this kind of stuff and label them all to be racist because they don't agree with me. Also, just to toss in that too, to put it on the entrees that, and systematically now, if we were to sit in the same college class, especially just like diversity class or diversity training, whatever they want to call it, they're going to teach me to hate you and at the same time teach you to hate yourself. What's your take on all this nonsense, bro?
All right. So with the, I don't know, that white people are the only people that can be racist. Excuse me, I gotta move a little bit. Only people that can be racist, and they say all these different things. I know the double standards that are happening. The thing is, to a degree, I don't really care. That's all it is. It's people being race baited into it. It's a globalist system that is trying to create a division within the greatest country of the world, not only in our country, but look at Germany, exactly. Sweden, France, all these places that they've already gone down that path. And that's pretty much the litmus test of where we're going to go if people keep on baiting themselves into it and allowing themselves to be indoctrinated into this ideological nonsense. Like, I know that there's groups out there that blame white people, or they blame Black people, or they blame Asians or Hispanics or whatever it is. I see all these people doing this, and not a single one of them have the testicular fortitude to take responsibility for their own lives and their own actions and the people that are in their immediate circle. Who are all these people? Do you have time to care for all these other people that you don't know them, you don't know their life? Who cares what their skin color is? Are you willing and able to take care of your own life and put it in order? Like, everybody else wants to point fingers. Oh, I'm victimized because this person or that person, he said this or she said that or did this and that. How come nobody's taking responsibility for what they say, what they do? Do their actions match their words? Right? Are they living a life for the betterment of not only themselves but the people around them, and in turn, so doing, for the people of our own country? Like, it's just a diversion. It's a distraction away from everything else, and it's. For me, I'm not going to feed into it, but if it ever gets down to the point, that's why I lift weights and train fighting.
That's right. And, there's nothing wrong with being prepared mentally and physically and also spiritually, because this is definitely a spiritual battle. And I agree with you that it is a huge distraction to turn us away from what the globalists are basically doing. Separation, divide and conquer.
What did Jesus say? House divided against itself cannot stand.
That's right.
It's the same things that are happening then are happening now. It's just a lot more fanciful. We got technology and fun things that, like this thing here, like it just keeps going off and off to get you distracted, But it's the same thing. Nothing's so much different. Human nature is always going to be the same.
What I think is fascinating, even in the midst of all this, let's just say, of all this chaos, the good that I can see in it is that it's teaching us conservatives to be more independent.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the people that are putting this are like collectivists, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the individual doesn't matter as long as the group all believes and thinks and does and says the same thing, right? Like, but that's not how America was founded. Not even just America, other free societies, like they're all based on the sovereignty of the individual. And a lot of people are forgetting about that today. Like, you were created by God as a sovereign being to make the choice to do what you want in this life. You have the choice to either do nefarious things in life, or you can follow the path that's set before you by whatever God you worship, if it's Jesus or Odin or whatever the hell it is, whatever you believe in, I don't care. Right. As long as you're doing the next right thing, I don't really really care. So, and you said, like, how is it being a white male in today's culture where you can say whatever you want to say, but I can't?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that comes from, because I'm going to say what I want to say, no matter what other people's opinions are or what they're going to say about me. I don't care. You say what you want. I'm going to say what I want. You got a problem with it? Too bad.
And that's the way.
Like, did Jesus?
Yes.
No, look, people are watching, they're conservative or Christian or whatever that is. Like, people are like, forget, like, Jesus himself, he went against the entire religious system, the Jewish political system and religious system, and the Roman political system. Like, he was definitely a hardcore type of a guy. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, he's God, he can do that, but he showed us that way. Like, are we supposed to sit back and watch as our country and everybody in our country or around the world just gets baited into this insanity? No, people like you are doing what you need to do. I came to you, or you came to me. We're having this conversation now. Hopefully people get something out of it. If not, too bad. Probably read a book or something.
you know, so there's tons of there's a lot of people who are coming from the left who are leaving the left. Because they're like, you know what?
What do you mean by left?
The left. What I mean is by being liberal. By thinking that they have the right. Oh my goodness.
Suburbs, man.
We're in the suburbs. My neighbor is mowing the lawn.
I could go out there and tell him to shut up real quick.
No, you're good. No, but what I basically mean by that is that, you know, people who subscribe to liberalism, where they do, you know, they're like, well, okay, you're white privilege.
Oh yeah, I should have worn my work boots.
You know, big government, your freedom does come from government, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. Those kind of people, they are realizing that the left is not where they want to be at.
Well, the far left, I think, like, politically, like, I pay attention to politics, but like politically, I really don't care, because I think both sides are the same. And when it comes down to it, they're all corporately controlled. I mean, there's certain things like a government has to run a country, quote unquote, whatever the hell you think that looks like. Like, there's certain things that are going to be necessary. But I think, like, the people that you're saying that are far left, I think they're like the extreme left, like groups like, I'm going to say it, like Antifa or people like that. There's just Black Lives Matter, all these different people. Like, sure, they started out of a place of compassion and care and concern, but the way that they're going is and have been going and continue to go is they're doing exactly what they say they're against.
Yes.
And then and everybody's praising them. Like, I'm like, okay, this is very interesting. Like, everybody's so afraid to say what's really on their mind.
Yes.
Because those groups, I mean, they have people online. That's all they do is they surf the internet and surf blogs and surf people's Facebooks and go after your businesses and go after your careers and go after whatever it is that doesn't fit their ideas, man. Like even in the music scene, stuff like that, man. It's ridiculous. Bands are getting taken off of bills. People are losing their jobs, all because they have an opinion about something that doesn't fit the media's modern narrative of what the hell's going on in our country. That's and right. Those far left people, yeah, man. I sometimes, man, it's just like I think that it's I should probably be careful with how I say what I'm going to say. No, but I think that what they're doing is they're trying to elicit a response from people that are more right-leaning or conservative. And the problem is with that, like, we believe in the sovereignty of the individual and that you have that right to do and say those type of things until you cross a certain line. And then and nobody wants that line to be crossed. Like, that's the whole point of the globalists. They want some sort of engineered civil war, racial war, called neo-Marxist ideological war. And that's kind of what's happening right now, unfortunately. But the people that I'm around, like you and some others, they see it for what it is, and we still live our lives just like we would before. Right. We just a little more, we just pay more attention to what's going on in the world and politics and, religion and whatever, sociology, all these different things, because it gives us a little key window into what's coming next and what we should prepare for. And we all know that's coming, especially if you're Christian. Yeah, screw that thing. Especially if you're a Christian, like, this should be no surprise if you've read any of the Gospels, Matthew 24, if you've read Revelations or any of the Old Testament. I know it doesn't exactly lay it out, but that's the path that we're going.
Right.
Like, it shouldn't be a surprise to people, like, oh my God, things are going bad. Yeah, they're supposed to go bad, so get your life in order.
It's true. You guys, I apologize for this lawnmower. Because I have this microphone on omnidirectional. So I know it's picking it up. But
it might be because I'm drinking Monster.
Right. So let me see. So also, Adam, one thing that I'm constantly just vexed by is this radical homosexual agenda.
Oh, that's a
they
good one.
homosexualize everything.
Yeah, boy lovers
and they
everywhere.
make it all about homosexuality, man. What's your take on this, bro?
Well, what do you mean? Like, okay, so like my take on the homosexual thing, yeah, you got a sexual preference, but once you start wanting to, like, for example, we're in Minnesota, they do drag queen story hour down at the library for little kids. Like, that's taking it too far. You want to express yourself sexually, do that behind doors. And like, I know guys that are gay or whatever you want, but they don't act like they don't dress up in unicorn outfits and G-strings and march around the streets saying, "Oh, I'm liberated and I'm doing all this other stuff." That's something different and strange, and it probably comes straight out of DSM-5, to be honest with you. So, like,
expound on that, because I don't know if you guys know what that is.
So the DSM-5 is basically the Bible for mental illnesses that have all been categorized and put there. And lately it's been messed with a little bit when it comes to like this transgender stuff that's going on, where they no longer considered it a mental illness, gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria. But biology is biology. It's not going to change. Right. Like, I am a male. I think anybody that looks like me will know that I'm a male, or people that see me in the street will know that I'm a male. I can tell Duran's male. Even if you have a breast augmentation and you're trying to take certain hormones to make yourself into some kind of female, if you will, like, I will be able to tell that you are a male biologically. Like, our muscle mass is bigger. Our bone structure is a little more dense. This voice, a woman doesn't get the voice that I have, or the the voice that Duran has. That's just not going to happen. So what I think about it, man, is it's absolute insanity.
Yeah.
And St. Anthony the Great said that, yeah, everybody's going to love it because they'd be like, "Oh, he's got an alt-right haircut." Like, yeah. So I think it's absolute insanity, and people are just, I think a lot of people might honestly have some sort of trying to be compassionate, but I'm a very intolerant person, because tolerance means I'm going to allow things that I don't agree with or that are wrong to happen. And so, like, why would you want that? Why would you want that to happen? If you want to be homosexual, that's cool. Do your thing. I don't really care. But once you start pushing on kids, or you start pushing on the society as a whole, that we need to pander to your demands, then that becomes a problem. And that's why people are speaking out against it. And they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you guys are homophobic, or you got xenophobia or Islamophobia." Yeah, it's all like, trust me, we're not afraid of you. Like, it's not a thing. We just don't agree with you, and you don't have to push it on everybody. Exactly. We're not sitting here like, "Oh, I know there are groups like from the right that I don't agree with that do push their ideologies on people too." So, like, it's not like, "Oh, the right is the best," because, like I said, either side, they're basically the same. On the far left, far right, they're doing the exact same thing with some different methodologies, and it's ridiculous. And everybody's like, "Oh, right or left, right or left." Well, the conversation has to happen in the middle.
That's right.
And that's where 90% of people in our country really are, is in the middle. These groups that are on the extremes of either side are very small. And they're the ones that are controlling the narrative because the media and the people that are behind it want that to happen. So it causes that discord, and that discord causes discontent, and that discontent then creates violence and possibly upheaval.
That's right.
And then what does that do? It allows the government to have more control over its citizens.
Martial law.
Absolutely. And that's where it's going to go. If people, not groups of people, but people can't take responsibility for their own actions in their own lives.
Bingo.
It's that simple. Like everybody's like, oh, what are we going to do about this? Well, stop trying to change the world and change your life, man. Like change who you are, be a better person, man. Like you're not going to change the minds of a collective. That's not going to happen. You can maybe change the mind of one person, but their opinion and stuff is usually going to stay the same.
The part where it becomes highly intrusive for me is when, like when I was at the Trump rally out in Duluth some months back.
Oh, you're a Nazi.
And they had right, they had this transgender guy there, and I addressed him as a guy. I said him, and he said, "No, that's not my pronoun. My pronoun is she."
Or they, them, or zer, or whatever the hell.
I said, I'm not addressing you by the pronouns that you want me to address you by. I have my freedom of speech.
You're hateful.
But here's the thing that we're first it was there was proper dialogue, right? Then it started to digress because he wanted me to address him as a woman. And I'm like, I'm not addressing you as a woman. I said, biology does not lie.
Right.
What's your biology?
Do you think you might have been baited into that conversation?
No, actually, I walked up to him because.
So you tried baiting him.
Well, not really. I just wanted. I really wanted to know his intentions. What were his motives for being there?
I mean, there might be some people that legitimately have that type of. They truly believe that. I mean, I think most of it now. But that's I'm not saying, oh yeah, it's okay. No, but they may very well have that happening. If he's at a Trump rally, was he protesting?
Yeah.
Well then, yeah. So like I said, there's some people like probably have that, and like you and I know some people that fit that kind of category. Man, they had some horrible things happen to them in their lives.
Yeah.
Which made them question their existence and do certain things that most of us didn't have to experience. But like that individual, like if you're sitting there, like I get where you're coming from, but like I would address him just like you would too, because I don't know this person on a personal basis. Like if I knew the person on a personal basis in some way, shape, or form, and like I truly believed that he was sincere, like, oh yeah, I think I'm a woman, then maybe I'll consider, like addressing you that way. Highly unlikely, but I'll consider it because you're coming from a place of, honesty, and like you're really having an issue with that. So
right. But what's shocking though is I remember that the Association of Psychologists, whatever you call them, whether he's association of tons of psychologists and psychiatrists and stuff. They said though that the people that, as they say, with this gender dysphoria, that over 90% of them were sexually abused as kids.
Well, yeah, even with like, okay, yeah.
How come it's not talked about?
Well, because it doesn't fit their narrative.
It should be talked about.
It needs to be talked about, but it probably does, but more so like behind closed doors within their own group setting. Like, like if you don't think they share that stuff, just like you and I share certain parts of our life that you guys ain't gonna know. So, like, but I'm sure their stuff gets talked about. But why doesn't it get talked about in the mainstream? Because it doesn't fit the mainstream narrative. Like media, and all this entertainment that is controlled and designed to distract people. That's all it is. I don't watch it. I don't have time to watch CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News, or whatever the hell it is. I'm too busy getting my hands dirty and trying to provide for my family and change my life. Like, I don't have time to sit there. Like, one thing that amazes me nowadays, I'm like, where are all these protesters coming from? Don't they have jobs? Like, I don't know about them, man, but I got a lot of bills to pay, and I ain't got time to go protest nothing, man. Like, not that I want to, but but I have bills and kids to feed. Like, where do you guys come up with the time and money for this? Oh, I know there's some stuff like, You got what's his name? What he looks like the Sith Lord,
Soros.
George Soros.
Yeah,
You know,
Soros.
yeah. Who called him that? Alex Jones or something?
Yeah, the Sith Lord.
The Sith Lord. Yeah. something.
No,
Dark
that
side.
is a good question, because I was just like, you know what? These people, they're always available to protest. They can't have a job.
No, I think
They
like
can't.
the Boston thing. I can't remember the exact document, but it came out. Did they like get like $40 an hour to go there? They like shuttled them in on buses. I may be wrong, but I thought I read something like that.
It was something like that. Yeah, it was something like that.
And
the Democrats paid for them.
Yep,
going
and
to
the
do
Boston
that.
police like even were involved in like standing down and like, all right, that's interesting. That doesn't surprise me, but
That's
like,
right.
doesn't surprise me one bit, man. The world that we live in is way different than the world that I thought we'd be living in at this time, and it's exciting. I like it.
And I mean, you're absolutely right, man. You hit the nail right on the head. It's about you being an individual.
Absolutely.
I definitely always use this as my perceptual filter. Judge a person by the content of their character. I don't care about your race. I had a debate, you guys, with a professor from Bethlehem.
Baptist church.
Yes, this is
Like the one here?
yeah,
Okay.
downtown.
Yeah.
And so he's teaching his congregation about basically being sensitive towards the plight of blacks. I told him there's so many things that's just wrong with that. First of all, the premise is faulty. He goes, why is the premise faulty? I said, because if I walked into your church and your congregation starts to treat me, quote unquote, as the way they're supposed to because I'm black, I said, with a person with my mental acuity, I'll be insulted.
Absolutely.
I said, so
intuitively you'd pick up on it, like,
Exactly.
yeah, this is strange and very fickle.
I would be insulted. I'm like, because you're not addressing me as an individual. You're looking at me by the color of my skin.
Right.
And so if you're treating me by the color of my skin, that's called racism. So and he was just like, okay, I didn't look at it that way. I'm like, well, because people don't think about that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's like,
they're just trying
are
to
we
be
one in
nice,
Christ or not?
right? They're just trying to be nice. Yeah, I do remember. Was that verse? There's neither Jew nor Greek, all that stuff. Yeah, in Christ, like me, the church that I belong to, like I actually have actual refugees from Iraq that went through the proper processes to get their family here, and
went through the proper processes to come
Right.
to the United States.
And I worship with many different cultures and languages that are non-white. And so it doesn't really fit. Like when we take pictures together, like I like putting them online because people get upset. Like, they get upset, man. I love it. But just don't give me a reason to trigger people, because I will. Just for fun. Just for fun.
And so what I had alluded to earlier about Adam having terminated from his job because of some of his Facebook post.
And personal conversation. So like one thing, so not only just because of my Facebook post, but because this doesn't shut when people ask me a question. Like, hey, what are your thoughts on this, that, or the other? Well, here's what I think. And if you don't like it, yeah, I got some expletives I can say in there, but I told Ron I wouldn't swear as much as I usually do. So
Right, you're doing a really good job.
I'm struggling.
He's doing a really good job.
Struggling.
But he inboxed me and told me to check out his Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And this is what caused the uproar. I basically posted the same stuff on my Facebook that he posted on his Facebook.
Oh, and you have nothing, right?
Nothing.
Oh, like
Nothing happened.
Or like we know, like remember when people were telling you like, Duran, you can't be hanging out with Adam because that dude's racist, right? And you're like, what'd you say to them people?
Oh, well. So when we were at the same ministry, a lot of our brothers and sisters were basically telling me not to hang out with Adam because he's a
bad news.
Racist, right? Here's the reason why they say that he's a racist. Well, because he, like myself too, studies. He knows about Islam. And so because he was just very outspoken on Islam, they labeled him a racist. And I said, well, that's interesting that you label him a racist because he speaks out against Islam. I said, my channel speaks out against Islam. I can't stand Islam. Am I a racist?
But the funny thing is, Islam isn't a race; it's a religion.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
People are just so quick to be nice or whatever that they totally forget how to think with their prefrontal cortex.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I don't even consider Islam to be a religion.
No, it's more of a political movement.
There we go.
And,
yeah.
there we go. Like I was watching some stuff today before I came over here. I don't know. I watched a lot of different things, and they were talking. There's like some studies about this cloth or whatever that was uncovered over in Sweden or something. That someone said that the Vikings were Islamic. I'm like, how is that even possible? Because those type of people, but Islam didn't come around until like 600 years later, and the Vikings were around before Christ. Like, what are you talking about?
Jeez.
I was like, wow. Like, but it's just people pushing this agenda, and they're going to go as far as they can with it. Like.
It's just like that elaborate lie, where they talk about our forefathers had Qurans, so therefore they loved Islam. No, they had Qurans so they can study about
it because
Islam.
They're an enemy.
Exactly, because the Barbary pirates, they were kidnapping tons of the colonists, right. And so that's where we get the Marine Corps from. When we were colonies, to protect the colonies or to protect their people from the Barbary pirates who were Muslim. Right. So our forefathers had Qurans.
You want to start talking about slave trade?
Man, bro. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Where it come from? So, like, one of my favorite books on Islam is by a guy by the name of Serge Strakovic. It's called The Sword of the Prophet. Anybody who's listening now, if you haven't read that book, go out, pick it up on Amazon. I think it's like $12 or something like that, and read that book. It's really good. It's not too long, but it's very informative. It breaks down like the history, the theology, and what it means for us today and how they're acting these things out. But yeah, it talks about the slave trade in there and where it actually came from. Like there's still slaves today. All over the place. People are like, there's another thing. So like the left is like, slavery is something that happened in America, terrible tragedy, things like that. But they also forget that there were black slave owners. They also forget like that's done and over with. But what about today? The biggest slave trade today is sex trafficking, human trafficking. You hear anybody talking about that from the left? Not one word. And then they're like, what is it? Candace Owens, she pointed out like, you want to talk about Black Lives Matter, but what about all the abortions? Which Margaret Sanger, who started Planned Parenthood, was somewhat of a eugenicist and wanted to get rid of gays and black people. Yes. And I think she was Democrat, if I'm correct.
You know what?
I may be wrong. Don't quote me. And I'm very fallible.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, bro. I mean, this is what's baffling to me too, and this is how I know a person has not done their due diligence. When they're like, "Well, I'm a proud black Muslim," I'm just like, "Well, you're a proud black Muslim, but what about your prophet? Your prophet owned slaves.
Well,
the prophet cut the testicles off of Africans.
Yeah, until they convert or pay the tax or die. Most of them just died. So that's where the African slave trade started with Islam.
Exactly.
And not only that, but there was also slave trading by blacks to, Europeans.
That's right.
But also people are like, white people started slavery. Well, I mean, like we were involved in it, but we're also the ones that stopped it.
Exactly.
Like
Christians stopped it.
Yeah, Christian Europeans like Wilberforce. I think that's one of the guys. Main dude. He put an end to it, and look how much flack he got. But at the end, he just set a precedent, dude, and he didn't care about what other people thought. He knew what was right. The sovereignty of the individual.
That's right. That's right. And I just love how Christianity pulled us out of the dark ages, how Christianity got rid of, let's just say, there were a lot of sexism, period. We know that.
Misogyny is great.
Where it's like, well, you're a woman, shut up. Don't say anything. Christianity got rid of that.
You don't do that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Christianity got rid of that, but also Christianity got rid of the racial divide. But what I slowly seeing in today's society, though, is the unraveling of the civil rights movement.
You got like people like Al Sharpton and stuff like that, just throwing all kinds of crazy stuff out there.
Oh my goodness!
I'm like, where are these people coming up with these ideologies? Like, where are these opinions coming from? Like, cool, you can have one. I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me, and that's why it's so entertaining. But it's also dangerous because I'm just like, how far will they go? And we have laws and stuff to protect, your freedom of speech and things like that. So.
Exactly.
Do what you will, man.
and right. And you don't, and that's the thing. I would never, like the KKK. I used to have tons of debates with people who are in the KKK, tons of debates with Black Israelites. I equally dislike both groups. But I've also had debates with I've also had debates, with extremely radical Muslims that have said they would cut my effing N-word head off, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Lower South Side.
And so the thing is, it's like this, right? It's like, as you said before, and this is what I have told my subscribers before too, is that we have been miscategorized as conservatives. We are in the middle. We're not on the far right. But the far right is just like the left. They are identical.
I just learned that I was a conservative, actually. You want not? Someone's like, hey, you should check this out on your Facebook. Like, and they categorize you. I'm like, really? I'm like, what am I? I guess I'm a conservative, so I joined the cult.
I was there though.
What?
When we took that test.
What test?
On the third floor when we all took the test.
Okay.
You showed up as a liberal though. Yeah. When we took the test, weird, you're like, right? I'm not a liberal.
Right.
I'm not a liberal. So, but what's really good about this though is that even in the midst of all the confusion, all the chaos, I see a cohesiveness though, and a strong brotherhood is being formed in America as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's becoming unbreakable. The bond is becoming unbreakable because now it's taking people who were so far on both ends of the spectrum and is bringing them even closer together. Because they're just like, wait, you got people walking away from the far right. They're like, no, I'm not with that anymore. You got people walking away from the far left. And they're like, I'm not with that anymore. It's nonsense. And they find out that they're conservative.
Or whatever you want to call it, libertarian, whatever.
Or libertarian.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the natural response to some degree. That's going to happen. So whenever the pendulum goes to one side, it's got to come back, right? And then it's going to go back and forth. It's going to undulate that way no matter what.
That's right.
And I think today, a lot of people, I was just watching, like you're talking like KKK and stuff. YouTube, man, they got a political agenda for sure. Or not YouTube, but what is it? Netflix, they got a political agenda going on. So everything I'm looking on Netflix, I'm like, what should I watch on here, man? And I was like, everything's about race. And I'm like, I'm going to watch some of this stuff because there was one guy that showed up on there that I was really interested in. It's like, I can't remember his name, but he was talking to all the different Klansmen. Like, he's been doing it forever.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, he's like, that's exactly how people, if you are having those kind of issues, you got to sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with them. Nowadays, people don't really want to have conversations. I can't have conversation with most people that I know that have some differing opinions than I do, because they just shut down, freak out, or just call you a Nazi or whatever the hell it is they want to do today. Oh, you're a fascist. Like, dude, I didn't even know the National Socialist German Workers' Party existed in America till someone told me. Like, I'm like, really? Well, I'm in some union I don't know about.
And that's funny because I think, if I recall properly, when Candace Owens was actually kicked out of that restaurant
and called a Nazi,
and they were calling her they were calling her a Nazi, a white supremacist. And if you look at the video, you can see that she has this bewildered look on her face, like,
well, yeah,
what?
You're a black woman in America being attacked by white people calling you a Nazi because your political opinions are based in fact and truth, and they don't fit with what makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever. That's right. Emotions, not a thing you really want to continue to delve into when it comes to debate, because the emotions will overtake you at every time. It doesn't really matter.
That's right.
Yeah, but it is weird, man. Like, everybody's like, Nazi, 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 or communist, communist, communist. And it's like, okay, I'll just sit back in the middle and watch you guys duke it out like a bunch of idiots.
That's right. Well, you guys, this is Adam again, and I want to welcome you, man, for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Speaking to the subscribers. You got any sites of reference or anything?
Reference for what?
I don't know. Any sites? Any
pride
movement? Anything?
Any what movement?
Movement, like part of movement, anything?
No.
Okay,
no.
Gotcha.
No references.
Yeah, so Adam just wanted to come out and because I had to ask him. I was like, man, let's have a sit down in front of YouTube and just do it live. And Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You guys, make sure to watch the video, okay, previous to this one, okay, that I made before this one. And check out minds.com, you guys. Let's create a great exodus. Get off of these liberal platforms and let's go to a true libertarian platform. Let's watch them crumble.
Let me add to that though. Mm-hmm. I don't think, like, this is my opinion. He's probably not gonna like it, but that's okay. Like, I don't think people should leave. I know, like, sure, there's gonna be alternate like media sites and stuff. I think they should be utilized, absolutely. But you should also subscribe to like email lists and things of that nature that you are people involved in. But people shouldn't just like, oh, I'm done with Facebook, or I'm done with Apple, or whatever company that's doing all the censoring and stuff like that. I think you need to continue to be on them and continue to post material. Who cares if they block you or give you a ban for 30 days or demonetize it? It's not really about the money. There's people out there that, yeah, they make their living on YouTube. Well, guess what? You should probably have other ways to make your money besides just being dependent on that. Like, there's other forms. But I don't think that leaving like large social media sites and stuff like that is going to be the answer. You just got to continue to have a presence, and you just say what you want to say. This is America. You should be able, even if we're in America, you should be able to say what you want to say anyway. Who cares what the law says? Like, oh, you can't say this, that, and the other. Like, how much more Orwellian do you want to be, man? Like,
yeah, can't say anything about Muhammad.
Oh, shit, watch me. What, he's a child molester, dude? Like, who cares? Like, tell the truth, man. Like,
can't say it in Germany.
What? Why can't you? Well,
because they made it illegal.
Well, whatever. Well, look at what's happening to Merkel's regime right now. Anyway, exactly. Like, how much longer are you gonna? Big time. Like, Germany is not very happy with mass rape of their women and things of that nature, not being able to speak up against it. And the same with England, like stuff with Tommy Robinson and all this other stuff that's going on. Like,
love Tommy Robinson.
Right. And people are gonna, if you're doing the right thing, who cares what the consequences are? Like the saints of old, man, they did the right thing. Look what happened. They got filleted alive, or they got burned alive, or crucified upside down, or like, what do you think is going to happen? That's what we're called to do, to stand up for the truth, no matter what it costs.
That's right. That's right.
So
you guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned till next time. You guys have a good one. Christ bless you. Amen.